And welcome back to Game 2 versus Penn State. We have another round versus, Conkelder and friends. Conkelder and Mega Man Electric are two problems. I quickly discovered very, very, very early on in the brackets that Conkelder is going to need a little bit of chip damage if it's not running at least 216 special attack EVs, because that is going to let it live a hurricane from Bernadus and knock it out with either Ice Punch or Thunder Punch or Rock Slide or Stone Edge or what have you. It can live a hit, and that's really important in that matchup. But everything else, Mamoswine's got the potential Ice Shard. Mega Man Electric is the biggest threat to this team, so I really need to be aware of that. It's probably going to end up being Mega Man Electric versus Mega Man Electric in this matchup. But we'll see what we can deal with it, because if I don't get Rain up, I'm pretty sure Kabutops is only going to be able to Aqua Jet. Other than that, I can maybe Rock Slide or Stone Edge, but I believe he leads off with his Man Electric to get momentum very quickly. I am 100% not a fan of that, because I don't have any switches for it in case he wants to get aggressive and go for the overheat on turn 1. I do not want to go into Football to take that. I'm trying to think about what I would switch into this right now. I don't remember what I did switch into this right now. My main guess is maybe Polytoad, expecting a Volt switch instead of a T-Bolt. And look at that, it looks like it's right, because that was a very aggressive lead that I wasn't expecting. So it was a very, very good call on my opponent to lead off with it, because it's going to let him get momentum fairly quickly. But he ends up going for a hidden power. I'm assuming Ice here once again, predicting my Man Electric to come in. I'm not going to do that because I want to keep my Man Electric as fresh as possible, and I'm gonna try to keep I'd keep things going. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch out, and I think he actually predicts my switch again into Man Electric, predicting him to Volt Switch. So if that's actually how it turned out, those are the big boy pants, those are the ones that I took out of the dry yesterday and I thought I was good with in game 1. But it turns out he's going to be able to force me out long enough to get a safe turn to get a Stealth Rocks up. And I think he's Sash Endeavor is what this Mamoswine is, which is a set I see somewhat often to know of its presence, but not nearly often enough. I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks right here, which I figure, I might as well go for because I have a free opportunity as well. And then I stupidly go for either a Leech Seed or a T-Wave or something that doesn't end up working, but Hawlucha just sets up all over Football, and then Football just proceeds to die to a high jump kick, I believe. Yep, just straight out dies. So once, oh, you know what, that was a crit. I think it was a little bit physically defensive, if not max physically defensive at this point. So I'm not going to say that this mattered, but I definitely either went for a Power Whip or a Gyro Ball. I forgot how changed my moveset was at the time. But I went for something to try to break the sub, and that was important, and that kind of sucked. So, next thing I have up to take on this thing's hits are, I guess, just Polytoad. But because I did show him Protect and I did show him Perish Song in Game 1, he's actually going to predict the very obvious Protect that I have to go for here. I should have just gone for Scald. I don't know. It seemed safe. I wanted to play safe. And to be fair, I kind of had to. It kind of sucked. So he goes for a Swords Dance right here, but because the rain stops, I have to go out into something else because I need my rain. This team is very, very, very dependent on rain, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm actually going to go out into Kabutops in case he wants to predict the switch and go for the Acrobatics instead of the high jump kick. And then that way, if he does want to keep this thing around, he will have to switch it out right now. Which I'm thinking, yeah, you know what, he probably does, because it hasn't used its item yet. It could still be used for a switch-in or something of the sort. So I think I'm going to go for an Aqua Jet and follow it up with possibly... No, I go straight for Rock Slide, which is nice. Rock Slide actually does a pretty convincing amount of damage. I'm very pleased with that damage output. And then followed up with an Aqua Jet, That's it. That I cleaned out the Scizor. That was beautiful. I have never been prouder of Kabutops right there for being able to 2-hit KO something. But then Conkelder comes in, so that's a little disappointing. I forget if I just sack it here. I think I do, and I would rather just get off chip damage. See how much Aqua Jet does, and it does a very, very disappointing amount outside of rain. But it ends up going for a knockoff instead of a Drain Punch, actually predicting my Tornadus to come in, which I am pretty okay with, to be honest, don't get me wrong. But I get to go back into Polytoad right now. just to get the weather back up again, and then I'm probably going to end up going out into either Keldeo or Tornadus. I haven't scouted out his entire set, but usually the standard that I do assume is Drain Mach with Knockoff, and Ice Punch is the business. That's the one. So instead, gonna go into Keldeo here, predicting another Knockoff because he really doesn't want my Bernadus coming in for free. Either that or, you know, a Drain Punch would be okay. And hey, look at that, justified SD Aqua Jet Keldeo. Let's get it. No, but he knocks off my choice specs, and I miss a Hydro Pump. I miss a rain boosted Hydro Pump. The one time I really decided to hit that yellow button, and it didn't work. It didn't work. That was game-changingly vital, because I'm pretty sure that that would have done a killer amount of damage, and then I wouldn't have had to risk anything here. But I do expect him to go for a Mach Punch here, and he just reads me twice in a row and goes for a knockoff. So Tornadus takes a very huge chunk of unnecessary damage. And these are... there's a fairly good amount of chokes in here. I gotta say that his big boy pants were definitely on in this game. I had nothing for what he wanted to do, which was terrifying. And on top of that, here I am scrambling, trying to do well against a Conkeldurr and a series of good reads on it, and he still has Manectric at a really good amount of HP, so I figured, screw it. I had a sack here. That sucks, but that's what I gotta do. And the Conkeldurr's like still at like green HP. I freaking hated those things, and I ran into like 2 or 3 of them, I think. Like, no thanks. I'm done with that. I am done with that bullshit. So, I'm gonna switch into my Manectric right now. Now, because I did not Mega, I was kind of expecting him to want to maybe predict me to Mega on that turn and then go for an electric move, because it is Stab. Which is why I don't Mega right there. And then I think I'm actually going to lose the speed tie on this turn, once again guaranteed, because the speed tiers are still fixed where they're at, even on the turn that I Mega. So maybe I would have taken less damage from that HP Ice. Who knows? But he goes for a Volt Switch right here, and once again reads me very nicely. God, wow, I was an open book in this match. It's almost embarrassing, like, how well I got played in this game. Because he got it. He got every single thing he needed to. I was disgusted with this game at how poorly everything was going in my mind. Like, every play that I thought was gonna be safe, he was on top of it. So I gotta give shoutouts where shoutouts are due, because he definitely had this shit on lockdown. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff that's gonna die to Mamoswine, basically. You know, combination of Earthquake, potential Ice Shard and whatnot. And what else do I have? So the rain actually wears out on that turn, which is dumb. And then I have Tornadus, which I think is just going to die to an Ice Shard, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, I scooped there. I probably should have learned whether or not his freaking thing even had Ice Shard. But to be honest, he still had Mega Man Manectric left, and I was just really butt frustrated at that point. So I was like, fuck it. Done with this series. But that was game 2, so he takes it. Stay tuned for game 3 the next day, tomorrow, probably tomorrow. But that's where we are going to round things off and see what happens. So if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Later.